Boom! Austrian Grand Prix. It was started yesterday. Couldn't do it yesterday once again, so I'm doing it today. Predictions were done on Thursday, and as you will see already, I didn't guess half of the stuff. So let's introduce once again the Austrian Grand Prix. As you can see, the racetrack quite short, quite simple. 3 main straight lines and a fast speed corner place with 2 very slow corners. What did we see in the recent years? Well, starting with this year, you have a new chicane which will not be used by the F1. The F1 will keep going on the straight line. This is gonna be for MotoGP, because I'm guessing there was a huge crash that happened here with Morbidelli and Zarco, and they are trying to avoid the extreme high speeds that they reach on this racetrack. So what do you see in F1? We saw this Hamilton and Albon crash. It was in 2021 or 20 when 2020 after the COVID, when Albon was trying to overtake him on the outside, and Hamilton didn't give him enough space, so ended up spinning. We saw the same thing with Norris and Perez last year, and both of the drivers, Hamilton and Norris, got a penalty for this action. What else did we see? Verstappen, I think this was 2019, when Verstappen pushed Leclerc out of the way in a Verstappen way of push or we both crash. Leclerc had to go out. In theory, this is not legal, or it was not illegal back then, and still they didn't penalize Max Verstappen. They gave him the victory, but this brought us a nice interesting race in Silverstone the next weekend, where Leclerc spent the whole Grand Prix pushing Verstappen off the track. What else we see? Also something very interesting when the hybrid era began in 2014 15 if I'm not mistaken. Rosberg crashing into Hamilton in the same no, it was one corner before that. Oh no, actually in the same corner as Leclerc and Verstappen. Rosberg deliberately, if you see the onboard, actually it's kind of clear that it was made on purpose, didn't make the corner, trying to crash onto Hamilton and damage his car. However, it backfired and he damaged his own front wing, and Hamilton could continue and win the race. He tried to complain about it, but in theory he was the faulty one. Mercedes, I think he started to lose the favor of Mercedes after that incident, and if I'm not mistaken, he won the championship. So anyway, and this is the big thing, which is the Barrichello-Schumacher thing that happened in this Grand Prix. Barrichello was leading and he was ordered by Ferrari to slow down and let Michael pass on the finish line. He gave the trophy to Barrichello, but damage was done. Points were for Schumacher, and it was like that. Barrichello complained about this to Ferrari, saying that he was not a number 2 driver. In the contract, didn't say it anywhere, but Jean Todt, which in that time was Ferrari team manager, told that Michael's contract does say that he was the number 1. So, not many things to do. Let's check some quick news for the weekend. Remember that there was a meeting for the F1, FIA and the teams regarding some subjects like the porpoising and others. Well, the budget cap, something that Christian Horner was complaining actively for a couple of months already, due to the inflation of the war and the COVID and everything, that made it kind of difficult to reach or to stay on the target of 140 million. Many other teams actually were gonna stay in the budget, like Alfa Romeo or Alpine, who already told Horner to stop developing the car if they could not do that, because the development kind of spends a lot of money on it. So finally, the pressure made by Horner and Red Bull gave the effects they desire. They will increase at 3.1% the cap for the 2022 season. It was planned for 2023, but they will bring it forward 1 season. So it's more money than 0%. So Christian Horner and Red Bull should be kind of happy. 9 out of 10 teams approved the idea. So I'm guessing one of the teams that was already in the cap, like Alfa Romeo or Alpine, were the ones who voted against. I don't know. They didn't provide this information. Maybe they will give us this in the following days. Also, for pre-season testing. Usually the pre-season of F1 takes place in Barcelona. Due to being in Europe, most of the factories are either in Italy or in the UK. So for convenient and weather and warmth, in theory, it takes place in Barcelona, as it's a racetrack that represents the rest of the calendar. You have high-speed corners, you have slow corners, you have a big main straight. so you can actually practice there. The bad thing is that it's not hot enough. When you get to summer, for example, like right now in the northern hemisphere, the temperatures go up and the behavior of the cars change, right? Like McLaren has a huge problem with brakes and the temperatures. They cannot cool them down enough, so they get destroyed easier than other teams. Perhaps in the pre-season testing they couldn't see them. They got to Bahrain and bam, they went from the front lines to all the way to the back. So they agreed to make pre-season testing 4 days before to the Grand Prix outside of Europe. Perhaps since the season now starts in Bahrain, I'm guessing they want to increase the time that they are there testing in hotter temperatures than in Barcelona, for example. So for the race, what are we expecting for the weekend? Well, we already saw Friday, yesterday, it was sunny, right? So what's it gonna be like for the rest of the weekend? Saturday, we have 24 degrees expected. There will be some wind of 30 kilometers per hour. It looks like it got kind of windy yesterday in the second free practice or qualifying, however you want to call it. So sunny, good temperatures, not too hot, not too cold, something like in the 20s, 25s. So it's gonna be an interesting weather to race. Look like on Sunday it's expected to have a stronger wind, which can make the cars unstable. As we already saw, for example, yesterday, was some cars were leaving the track due to the wind suddenly picking up. And the racetrack. It's a racetrack like Silverstone. It's just all the year. You have high-speed corners and slow corners. So, as you can see, the statistics or the specifications of the racetrack are more or less the same. The track evolution is kind of low. The asphalt grip, it's kind of in the medium because it's the same all the year. As for the abrasion, it's kind of abrasive. And surprisingly, they brought the softer compounds. C3, C4, C5. Maybe they are planning to try to make it two-stopper race, hopefully, so we can see more stuff happening. You can see braking and traction and everything, it's kind of in the middle, so it's like middle, racetrack, downforce, middle. That's why, for example, cars like Mercedes are still performing well in this racetrack. However, cars like McLaren are not performing so well because you have big braking points, which is not their strongest point. 4.3 kilometers, 306 kilometers, 71 laps, so a lot of laps. And the lap record is from 2000, I cannot see it, 2020, whatever. Though, the prediction, let's check the championship once again. We have Verstappen for almost 40 points ahead of Sergio Perez, and then you have Leclerc and Sainz coming back, so the both teams are thereabouts. Leclerc needs a big winning streak to come ahead, and Verstappen not getting points, crashes, reliability issues or whatever, so he can catch up once again after he has his own share of bad luck. And Carlos Sainz got a bite on the almost 50 points that had Leclerc on him. Also, once again, thanks to Leclerc having horrible strategies and reliability issues. We have the Mercedes, the McLaren of Lando Norris, somehow up there. And then you have the Alpines and the Alfa Romeo. So, the prediction. This, in theory, should be, as Silverstone, a Red Bull racetrack. High speed means Red Bull is a better car. So pole position, not the one from Friday, but the one from Saturday. The sprint race is the actual qualifying for this weekend. So Max Verstappen was expected to do. I did this on Thursday without knowing, as you can see. I put some names out of place, but anyway. And the race winner should be Verstappen, followed by Leclerc, Perez, and Sainz. I mean, these four drivers are ahead of everyone thanks to the car. The Mercedes should be thereabouts, but thankful for me. They crashed both on Q3. Russell maybe will have to change some parts of the car, so maybe he will be in trouble. Let's see about that. So Hamilton had a very strong race on Silverstone. That's why I put him ahead of George Russell. Yesterday, until before he crashed, for example, he was coming in lap times to be quite on the top. So looks like Mercedes are going to be performing well on this weekend. Good for me. And then the Alpines, based on Silverstone, they had a strong-ish weekend, considering that they are not capable of matching the pace of the first 6 drivers, or the first 3 cars. Alonso and Ocon. Ocon qualified before Alonso yesterday. Looks like Alonso damaged the floor or something like this. So the Alpines should be thereabouts on the top 10, as well as the Haas. I put Kevin Magnussen there, even though both of them qualified on the top 10. So Mick Schumacher looks like he started to get the pace of the car, and it's not in my list. I'm not going to change it now. I'm not going to cheat. I put Pierre Gasly there because in theory the Alpha Tauris play at home. They should have a decent race, which I think I remember Gasly didn't have such a good qualifying yesterday for the Saturday race. So let's see how he performs today. Usually on Saturdays they don't have a risk-taking attitude because the race and the points are provided on Sunday. So this is my prediction. Let's see how many I guess. Usually 0 as per usual. So quiz time. This I already gave you some hint. After which year did the team orders come to F1 after the Schumacher-Barrichello incident? I already showed the picture. I didn't tell you the year on purpose. So should be one of the 6 years that Barrichello stayed in Ferrari. 2000, 2021, 2022, 3 or 4. I didn't put 5 because Ferrari didn't do anything on those years. So one of these years that incident between Schumacher-Barrichello happened, and the following year team orders came into play into F1. You were not allowed to give the order to one of the drivers to let the other one pass. So if you know it, put it in the comments. If you see this video with the thousands of views that I have. And there's no prize, it's just for fun, by memory. If you know it, if you don't know it, just take a guess and let's have some fun. That's why I do this, as per usual. Take it easy. Today, Saturday, we have the sprint race. Not expecting much of it, except that Perez has been penalized with 10 positions. He's gonna start on the back of the top 10, so he should be overtaking the cars to try to get as close as he can to the top 3 places, which he should overtake with ease all these Alpines and Haas cars that he has on front, because the Red Bull is like much quicker than those cars. And let's see what the Mercedes is do. Hamilton starting P9 now, and George Russell starting P4. If he can fix the car, nothing has to be changed. So not expecting much. Sunday race should be more interesting, even though Austria is not usually a very interesting race, except for crashes and incidents like Hamilton, Albon and others. So let's see you on either Sunday or Monday with what happened on the race.